All right, guys, we are live for another episode of the Winner Tilt Show. We got 6 NBA games to go over here today. Was actually just bringing it up. I wanted to see how many potential assists we had for Tyus Jones last game because we hit 3 of 4. Pokashevsky got a DNP, which we knew, again, once we saw those guys sign to 10-day contracts, like the unders and all those Thunder guys, unfortunately, they just all got DNPs. So that was void. But yeah, we went 3 of 4, and again, we had Tyus Jones go under by 0.5. Couldn't even get it in overtime either, so that was pretty tilting. He went off scoring-wise, but just didn't get there with the assists. So he had 10 potential assists. Okay, so not actually a ton. Steven Adams had 12 potential assists. That's a little bit weird, but yeah. Mark, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Well, I mean, could be better. We always could be better. We need to get a win. We deserve a win. When you got guys like Jalen Hward, or I don't even know if that's how you pronounce his name, but going for 24 points and 21 rebounds yesterday for OKC. When we got stuff like that happening, but yet we can't get 6 assists for Tyus Jones, it's just a travesty. So it is what it is. We're going to get a win today. I feel really good about it. Do you remember yesterday what Roby's PRA line was?
It was like 26.5.
Okay, so he did just
barely hit it. I took the under on everything on DraftKings once we got that news, and unfortunately, I got DNPs from Maladon, Pokashevsky, and Roby hit by 1 because they ran with 6 guys. But yeah, it was like 26.5.
Yeah.
And again, if you guys did just 2-pick power plays, definitely would have made some money last night going 3 or 4. But obviously the 5-leg got hurt there at the Pokashevsky DNP. But I think it's a pretty decent 6-game slate here. We do have some teams to talk about. It's, again, down the stretch, you can definitely take advantage of things with teams playing, some teams playing for things and others, playing for nothing. Like, I don't think we have any Suns or Clippers props up yet. Yeah, we don't have any Clippers, or we don't want any Suns. We do have the Clippers, but neither team's playing for anything right now, right? So be careful there, especially with the Suns on a back-to-back on the road. I could definitely see them resting some players. So keep an eye. I want to see if they end up putting up player pops for the Suns, but Clippers are a team, again, they're locked in the 8 seed as well. So we don't know for sure if the starters are going to play full minutes. I'm a little bit more confident that they do, just because I think they want more chemistry with Paul George playing alongside the starters. But there's definitely going to be some shenanigans like the Pistons. I don't think they have any props up yet because they're probably not going to play their main guys a ton. So it's going to be interesting to see how this day goes. But yeah, are you looking at anything? Does anything stand out on the board to you right away?
I kind of like some of KCP's numbers. He had a really bad shooting game yesterday. So I don't mind hitting that 15.5 against Atlanta. He's definitely kind of been their second scorer with Kuzma out. And so as long as Kuzma is out again today, which I believe he's supposed to be, then yeah, I like KCP again over 15.5.
To mention on the Wizards, they ran an 8-man rotation kind of out of nowhere. They've been running 9 to 10-man rotations for last few weeks. They ran an 8-man rotation last game. So that's a positive. Also, you saw the blowout, and KCP did not play in the blowout. So him and Porzingis lost a chunk of minutes there in the blowout. So I don't hate that one. And KCP right now, last 5 games, 15, 17, 19, 17, and 12 shot attempts. So he's getting a lot of shot attempts up. It should be played at a fast pace. So totally could get down with some KCP and his points. There's one that really stood out to me right away, and that's going to be Dwight Powell for the Mavs. So I think any of these props, there's no Maxi Kleber. The Mavs still have something to play for, right? They still want to win games. And the Mavericks have no confidence in Marquise Chris. So you're going to see pretty big Mets here for Dwight Powell. We saw 30-plus Mets from him last game. The fantasy points, I think, already bumped up a bit to 24. I believe that was at 22. But I could get down for any of these, the fantasy points. I think the rebounds, honestly, could look the best just for the amount of Mets he should play. But He is one player that I really like here, just taking advantage of that because I think we're going to see 35 minutes from Dwight Powell.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think you could literally do any of those, and I don't have a problem with it. I think he should smash today, especially up against Detroit. Yeah, I would. I mean, I could easily see the rebounds. I wouldn't say he's a fantastic rebounder, but the opportunity is there tonight. So, yeah, I definitely could get down with the rebounds. I could get down with the PRA because I definitely think this is a game where he should get a double-double pretty easily. So I don't see that being much of a challenge up against Detroit. And I do want to say this before they put up the Pistons lines today. I'm going to call it now. Killian barely played in the last game. He's going to go for like 35 minutes today. Like it's going to happen. It's going to be Detroit is impossible to predict right now. I'm just going to call it Killian Hayes. We're going to be talking about this tomorrow. Killian Hayes is going to play 35 minutes tonight after playing 22 in the last game, which made no sense.
Yeah, even with like an 8-man rotation last game, they still found a way to limit their main guys. So the Pistons, I mean, I'm completely staying away from them for DFS, looking to more the value guys, really. Yeah. But they don't want to win games, right? They're trying to lose. So I don't even know if you'll see any Pistons props on the board. I really don't. I don't think they're going to take or put anything up because I think everyone's just going to hammer the unders. So, yeah, I mean, I think like the Pistons tonight, the closing lineup is probably going to be like Carson Edwards, Braxton Key, Isaiah Livers, Frank Jackson, and they're going to close with the scrubs, almost a guarantee. But yeah, if Killian Hayes comes out and plays 35 minutes, I would be extremely tilted after that last game.
Oh, nothing shocks me anymore. So at this point, I just assume whatever happens in one game, the opposite's going to happen the next game because that's the way it feels like it's been. So, but yeah, other than that, I always don't mind going back to Bruce Brown at 11.5. He's been consistently hitting that. He had a good game yesterday. It's a decent over-under on that game, 230. And I also could go to – I got to look at Vooch's numbers, but Vucevic has to have a better game today going up against Boston. Daniel Tice and Al Horford are not great defenders, and he had the worst game, I think, in his entire life yesterday.
Yeah, he shot 3 of 19, I believe he shot.
Yeah, that is atrocious.
Hard to do.
Yeah, I feel like you could put me out. You could put both of us out there, and I feel like we can do better than 3 of 19. So I truly feel like you can probably hit any of his, and I think he's going to have a great bounce back opportunity today because you got to be a little irritated with yourself after you go 3 of 19.
Yeah, I don't see him shooting that bad again. For what it's worth, Levine is expected to play, so you will have the big 3 in. Caruso not expected to play, but I don't really think that affects Vucevic too much. So I think Vucevic does bounce back. So I don't mind that one. Other ones I'm looking to, again, I just want to look to, if I'm taking overs, I want to look to teams that actually have something to play for. So like a team like the Nets, right? What's the spread in this game right now? Let's refresh this. But I don't think this game blows. I believe it's being played at
5 points.
New York, 5 points. Yeah. So like there's a good chance that you see big minutes here for Kyrie and KD. So you have right now, let's see, Kyrie at 42 fancy points, KD at 50. Actual points, you have KD at 29.5 and Kyrie at 27.5. I mean, I could get down with either of those just because the Nets, they need to win games right now. So you're going to see like 40 minutes for both these guys. So the 2 main guys for the Nets, you mentioned Bruce Brown. We do have Seth Curry back too. So like they do have a couple more bodies here in the regular rotation. Drummond's one that I just don't know what to make of his minutes right now. So he's one that's kind of hard to read. But a team like the Nets that actually need to win games right now, I think looking to taking some overs on KD or Kyrie is not a bad idea. Just because minutes are going to be pretty secure, right? You're going to see about 40 minutes for either of these guys. So I think again, big minutes, and where the productions come from as well.
Yeah, and I think you can look at today a lot of the 3-point props I really like. And speaking of who you just mentioned, Kyrie, he's at 3.5, and he's been smashing. He's been shooting really, really well from 3. He's been shooting a ton from 3. So and hitting at a high clip. So I definitely could see him hitting that 3.5, and I could see him hitting that pretty quickly into the game. I wouldn't be shocked. And then I also think you can look at a guy like Porzingis at 1.5 looks nice. Paul George at 2.5 looks nice. All of those have been routinely hitting. And then I wouldn't be shocked if you want to play the revenge narrative. I don't know if you can truly call it revenge because I think Reggie has good feelings towards the Pistons. But Reggie Bullock at 2.5 against the Pistons tonight. That's another one who's been smashing.
Yeah, like with Reggie Bullock, like that's all he's going to do, really. He's just going to stand in the corner. So, like, again, with no Maxi Kleber, you're going to see like close to 40 minutes. You actually saw 40 minutes from him last game, and that's kind of just what he's going to do. So, the last 5 games, 11, 8, 7, 7, and 6. So he's averaging like 7, 8 3-point attempts a game. So I don't hate that one. Again, that's literally all Reggie Bullock is going to do. He's not going to do anything else in the offensive end. So the 3-point props I usually stay away from, but I could get down with a few of these that you mentioned, just because like a guy like Kyrie said, he's shooting a ton recently. Reggie Bullock, that's all he's going to do. So I don't mind those. We got away with we hit our blocks and steals one with Siakam. He hit 2. So that
how'd you feel doing that one? Was it nerve wracking?
I usually don't use the blocks and steals, free throws, or 3-pointers made much, but I checked in at the end of the night. I was like 1 block and 1 steal. I was like, let's go. That's a nice win. Yeah,
that's consistency right there. Gotta love to see it. Free throws make me more nervous because obviously not only do you have to, primarily drive the hoop, but you got to get fouled and then you got to make your free throws. That's a difficult one. I do think you can sometimes look at a guy like Kevin Durant and go, okay, he's going to shoot the ball 25 times in the game. So odds are he's going to get fouled a decent amount. And his is at 7 today. So I think like you can easily look at something like that. There are certain guys who do tend to get fouled a lot. Zach LaVine gets fouled a lot. But free throws is a little bit more nerve wracking to me. 3-pointers, if you like the point prop for a guy, then I definitely think his 3-pointers are a good idea. Paul George at 2.5 when he's been hitting 5 and 6 and stuff like that just to me seems almost too easy. I could argue, I understand when someone's like, okay, Kyrie at 3.5 is a little high, but when you're trying to win and you have a team that has so much talent on that team, you're going to get some good looks from 3. So that's where I can get down with some of those sort of looks.
Yep, agree with that. A couple of mentions in the chat here. Someone brought up the Dwight Powell rebounds and under on the Jalen Brunson PRA. The only thing I'll say with the Brunson one is I don't know if there's a huge edge to that one just because it's a great match against Detroit. He is a guy that can kind of stuff the stat sheet. So I don't have a super strong feel on the Brunson one. Again, we talked about Powell. I'm pretty high on that. Tommy mentioned RJ Barrett points. The Knicks are running a pretty tight rotation right now, and there's no Julius Randle. This is a good matchup. You're probably going to see 35-plus minutes from RJ Barrett. So I think that one looks pretty good just because even though the Knicks have nothing to play for right now, they're still running a relatively tight rotation. And Barrett gets a pretty big usage bump, so expect a lot of shots from RJ in the game against the Nets today.
And that's one where I could easily play RJ Barrett points and then Kyrie threes because if they're both if it's a high scoring game, then chances are they're both hitting that and hitting it pretty well. It's just got to be a high scoring game and it's got to be a game where they're kind of going back and forth. But I definitely think that's a good correlation in a PrizePicks.
Yeah, so Wizards, Tommy also brought up the Rui PRA. So he's hit it 4 of the last 5. So if they run a similar rotation to last game, I'm totally fine with that, right? The Wizards ran an 8-man rotation. It's a good matchup. I'm not convinced we get that same rotation as last game. Like, we saw a pretty big minutes bump for Rui. He played 37 minutes. It was a blowout. I believe he did get the blowout run, too, for what it's worth. So in a competitive game, does he go back down to, like, 30? That is the question with Rui, but he has been playing better of late. He has, and again, if they run a similar rotation to last game, then I'm totally good with taking over on Rui.
Yep. No, I agree with that. Especially after the game before that, he had a dud game, and so
I don't think he scored in the game before.
Yeah, that was ugly. But no, I definitely like that. And in terms of Al Horford being a good defender, I think Al Horford was a good defender. I don't know if I would consider Al Horford still a great defender. And especially because there's Chicago's got some big bodies, so you could easily see him on DeRozan or Patrick Williams or Vucevic. That's Vooch is a hard guy to defend when he's playing well. When he's not shooting 3 for 19, he's a hard guy to defend. And I'm always going to take good offense over good defense.
Yeah, I think Horford his lost a step. Obviously, he's still an okay defender. I don't think he's the same defender as he was in the past. I wanted to look up Reggie Jackson potential assists. He had 10 assists last game, so I was just curious. He's been playing big minutes, and so I want to see. Okay, so 329 was the game Paul George played. So I just want to see what the potential assists are looking like for a guy like Reggie in those games that Paul George has played. So let's check this out. Because he had 10 assists last game, but I'm guessing he got kind of lucky. Where are the Clippers? There they are. So 13 potential assists over the last 3 games for Reggie Jackson. And his line is set at 4.5. So, I mean, that's pretty good. I'm pretty high in the Reggie Jackson assist number. Okay, so we just got some news. Conley and Mitchell are both out. Not a huge surprise because the Thunder can basically, or the Jazz can definitely win without those two. Mitchell out for rest, Conley out for rest. I don't think we have Jazz props though. Like obviously you could just hop on the Clarkson, but I would guess that we don't have those. So we'll see what they end up if they end up putting on some Jazz props once we already got the confirmation Mitchell and Conley are out. I wouldn't be shocked if Gobert's out too, but they only talked about Mitchell and Conley. So we'll keep an eye on props for the Jazz, see if they end up adding guys like Clarkson. That's definitely one that, I'm curious to see who else they'll add, right? Do they add Clarkson? I don't know. The tricky part about the Jazz, even with those two guys resting, right, is there's a very good chance they still blow out the Thunder. So we'll keep on the board for the Jazz. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I get the late games are a little bit more nerve wracking to me. The Jazz, obviously, you got to see who they end up having playing. That game's going to be pretty ugly. But the game that's interesting to me is the Phoenix Sun and Clippers. The Clippers being favored by 2 tells me that Vegas knows that the Suns are going to have some guys out because that doesn't make any sense. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see a few of the Suns' big guys like either Booker or Crowder or Paul, take the game off and get some rest. So that's the only thing that makes me a little bit hesitant about Reggie is because I like that assist prop, but I'm like, man, I could picture you and I texting each other later tonight and being like, oh, wow, the Suns have 5 guys out. Oh, shit, all of the Clippers backups are in, and Reggie's not even playing. I could see that happening. Now, I hope that doesn't happen because I like that assist prop, but, God, I could see that happening, and this is the end of the season where that sort of stuff happens.
Yeah, it's possible. Again, my one reasoning for feeling relatively confident still in the Clippers is just that we've only seen Paul George play 3 games. So I just think they want to get more chemistry with the starters. I agree. I think the Suns do rest players. I don't know who exactly. If I had to say for sure, I would say Chris Paul doesn't play. So like the game a couple games ago for the Suns, they rested a majority of the starters besides Paul and Bridges, which was really weird.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Paul and Bridges today. And then you see like Booker, Ayton, and Crowder play. But I definitely think there's some Sun starters going to rest. They have nothing to play for, locked into the 1 seed, back-to-back on the road. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Again, I don't see any Suns props up right now. I'm a little bit more confident in the Clippers just because I just think they want more chemistry playing with the starters. So still feel like I think if they were to limit or if they were just not going to play their main guys, they would just rest them, right? So I would be shocked if they play Reggie and Paul George and don't play him normal minutes. Also, the Suns are good enough that even if they rest some guys, I think they keep the game competitive.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. With that said, I do love that Reggie prop. That was just my only counterpoint was just that I hope it doesn't end up a blowout. But you could basically say that about pretty much everything right now with all of these games. So yeah, no, I definitely think if we want to start building a line, I definitely very much can get down with that Reggie Jackson assist prop.
Yeah, the other one I do want to mention too was it's not a fun one, but Batum PRA is only at 11.5. Again, we've been seeing a pretty tight rotation. Like I brought up the Clippers rotation last game. They ran 9 guys in a competitive game, and then you saw kind of scrubs getting at the very end, Moon, Coffee, and Hood. But you're seeing relatively tight rotation. Nick Batum played 9 minutes in the first quarter, and then another 5 in the second. So was on pace for close to 30 minutes there. And if you get around 30 minutes from Nick Batum, sure, he's not going to be a super productive player when he's on the court, but 30 minutes from Batum and 11.5 PRA feels a little bit low too. So even though the Clippers aren't playing for anything, I still feel like we get normal minutes for the starters. So another one that I wanted to bring up there. But yeah, do you want to build out a 5-leg prop here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so let's start with what is the one that you feel the best about right
now? Probably KCP, 20.5 PRA. He had a bad game and didn't play full minutes in that last game yesterday, and still hit 19. So his PRA is 20.5. I think that's great value. And I think he definitely gets that today.
Again, the only reason really why he did not get there is the blowout, right? He would have hit that. And yeah, I mean, KCP, besides that last game, he's been consistently playing like over 30 minutes, and he was on pace for 30 minutes again. Like the Wizards, even though they have nothing to play for right now, they're playing their guys normal minutes. So unless we hear otherwise, I think we continue to get low 30s minutes from KCP. He'll chuck up a ton of shots. It's going to be played at a fast pace. So yeah, I like that KCP one. Let's just pray he doesn't have an awful shooting game. But I think if we get 30 plus minutes again from him in this spot, that one looks pretty good.
Yep.
So let's go to the one I feel really good about. There's 2, the Reggie and the Powell. So right now I'm taking a stand. I do think Clippers guys get normal minutes. So I do like the over on the Reggie assists there. And then the other one I really like is Dwight Powell. The issue is I just don't know which one I want to take because, again, the Mavericks have no confidence in their backup bigs with Maxi Kleber out, like whether it be Chris or Bertans, and they want to win this game. So unless the game blows out, you're going to get over 30 minutes from Dwight Powell here. So which one do you like? Do you like the PRA, fantasy points, rebounds? Is there one that you feel really good about? Basically my take is I like the over anything on Dwight Powell.
Yeah, I mean, I could really get down with any of them. I'll say this, as we're making this, if anybody has a why KCP over fantasy when they are that close, are you saying, Sway, that you mean should we take the fantasy over the PRA? Oh, yes, you are. Sorry, I read that wrong. What was KCP's fantasy real quick?
Let's see. A fantasy is 24. A PRA is 20.
Probably because he doesn't do a ton in terms of he doesn't get a lot of blocks and steals. And so he's a guy that, because he has the ball in his hands a lot, you obviously have a chance for turnovers. And we've gotten burned by that. But I wouldn't say he's anybody that gets he does actually get a decent amount of steals.
I mean, yeah, he's a decent defender, but I would say he averages around 1 block steal a game. So it's not I don't think it's
it kind of gets negated by the turnovers because he gets a few turnovers each game. So
yeah, it's kind of just I feel like it's
kind of a toss up for me. Yeah. If you feel good about the fantasy point total instead, you could definitely do that. But I just think it's kind of a wash between his turnovers and his blocks and steals. But going back to Powell, if anybody has an opinion on that, definitely let us know. I probably go with, I could literally do a coin toss. I like him to get that 12 points. He scored pretty quickly in the last game. But I think the rebounds at 6.5 just seems so light. So, and I don't think, I mean, Isaiah Stewart's a good defender and a good rebounder, but I think that's, it's 6.5. 6.5. Should have hit that easily in 30 minutes.
Yeah, again, it just really the minutes, right? This is why we like Powell, because if you look at him from a majority of the season, right, he's playing like low 20s minutes. Him and Kleba are kind of splitting time. So, when he sees a minutes bump, right, when you see him play like 30 minutes, he's usually hitting that over 6.5. So, like, let's look at like recent games, right? So, yeah, last game we were not going to get 13 rebounds, but okay, in 21 minutes, he had 6 boards. In 22 minutes, he had 5 boards. 29 minutes, 8 rebounds. 22, 5, 20. So, like, when he's playing like low 20s minutes, he's getting like 5 or 6 rebounds a game. Yeah. And we're seeing, unless this game turns into a massive blowout, we're going to see over 30 minutes from Powell. Sure, like outlier here, he only saw 4 rebounds. That was against Embiid, though. 30 and 6, 32 and 12. So, consistently he's getting like 5-6 rebounds in like low 20s minutes. And if we get over 30 minutes from Dwight Powell, I think there's a good chance he does hit that the rebound mark. But I just don't know if I want to take the boards or PRA fantasy points. I think he is. I think he's in for a really big game here.
Do we have 2 that we're kind of I guess picking between? Should we kind of let everybody vote and then just pick the one that goes the highest?
Yeah, I guess rebounds and probably fantasy points, just because he is a guy that can block some shots.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody vote in there. First one in the comments to hit 5 votes we'll go with. So either just put PRA or rebounds, and that's for Dwight Powell. First one to get 5 votes, we'll go with that.
And Joel brought up one that I wanted to mention. I like this one quite a bit, the Horford PRA. We'll get to that after the Powell, but you're seeing pretty big minutes from Al Horford. It's a great matchup. So the Celtics right now are running 8-man rotation with Peyton Pritchard playing like 10 to 15 minutes on the bench. So they're running a very condensed rotation, and you see that, like, the Bulls are playing no defense right now. So that is another one I really like, is the Horford PRA as well.
Yeah. No, I could definitely get down with that. Okay, so Tommy's coming in with the fantasy score vote. Let's see. Fantasy better gets blocks and steals. Fantasy points. All right, so we got 2 for fantasy point. Oh, we got 1 for rebounds, Quan. Okay, let's see. SRG, give us, or S4G, give us a vote on Powell. Okay, Joel's.
It looks like fantasy points is the one. So okay. I think we got 4 for fantasy points. Let's do it. Let's do the fantasy points for Dwight Powell. I know we're not getting the best number, right? I think, when it first came up, he was a little bit lower, but still, again, you're going to see big minutes from Dwight Powell here. So, let's do that. And then, again, I like the Horford one quite a bit, just because how tight a rotation they're running. So, I think PRA is probably the one that looks the best for Horford. So are you good at that one?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. And then that's 4. So right now we have the KCP over PRA, the Reggie Jackson over assist, Powell over fantasy points, and the Horford over PRA. Anything else? Any unders you like? I don't think there were any unders that really stood out to me.
No, I'm looking at a few real quick to see.
Yeah, SRG brought. I mean, that's not a bad point, right? Powell's first half, just because potential for a blowout. I like. Again, I think it's what is.
The Pistons don't get blown out, though. That's
true. I know. Even with, Bovada's like not working for me right now. So I don't know what the spread is.
The spread is 8.5.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is a chance it blows out, but. Luka under 31.5. I get that, right? If you play for the blowout. Horford is bumped. So Horford got bumped to 23.5.
Where's this? Wow. I'm still showing 21.5. Let me see.
Yeah, let's see if I can, if I'll bring it up on my phone.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, two whole points is definitely a pretty big difference.
Hmm.
Okay, here we go. Booker, CP out, Peyton out. Okay, so this is what I was expecting, right? I did not think the Suns. So I thought some of the okay. So Crowder out, Ayton out, Paul out, Booker out. Okay, this is what we were expecting. Horford's fantasy stayed the same.
Yeah, damn, he is up to 23.5.
Okay. Well, would we rather go the fantasy points then? Because Horford is a guy that can get those blocks and steals.
Either that, or I'd go to did his first half line change? Because
if they bumped his fantasy, or if they bumped his normal, they would bump his first half as well.
Yeah, but there's only if they didn't bump the PRA. So his fantasy score looks to still be at 15.5, which is he's been hitting that pretty consistently in the first half. So I just said Horford first half fantasy line is the best. Let's check Jaylen Brown PRA. That's been mentioned a few times.
Okay. So Brown PRA is at 35.5. I said in the last four. I mean, like I said with Boston, I can get down with a lot of these. Like they're just running a super tight rotation. Last couple games have been blowouts, but like you're going to see a very, very tight rotation for Boston in a competitive game, and they want to win games right now.
Would you rather go with that than Horford?
I personally feel better about Horford than Brown, but that's just me.
Which line though on Horford?
I think either the full game fantasy points or the first half. I think either works for me.
Okay, I can get down with the first half fantasy.
All right,
he's been playing, yeah.
And I think either of those is fine. So unfortunately, the PRA move for Horford, but still think the fantasy points is a solid one. Again, you're going to see pretty significant minutes here for Horford. So I think first half looks good too.
Actually, you know what? To be honest, I kind of like the whole game fantasy score for Horford more than I like the first half. He's been
the whole game then. I mean, this game there's no real blowout, right? So like I don't really have a super strong take on first half versus full game. Like you're gonna see 30 plus minutes from Horford here. I can almost guarantee it, unless he gets in foul trouble. So yeah, the PRA moved, but fantasy points I think is still a solid one too.
So
he is a guy that is good at getting the blocks and steals, right? So that's a positive.
Does it make you nervous at all now that we know that the Phoenix guys are out? Does that give you any pause on the Reggie? Or I get obviously still the logic of they still want to mesh their guys, but are you worried at all about a blowout in that game?
I'm not. I still think the Suns' backups can keep it competitive. I don't think the Clippers are an amazing team, so I'm still not super worried about it. Reggie assists.
Okay. All right. Is there anything that what else should we do with that?
Those are the ones that stood out to me. Again, the Powell, the Reggie, and then Horford, even though it moved. So we pivoted there to the fantasy points. But
I could get down with the Nets wanting a win and Kyrie Irving 3.5 threes. I know that sounds like a lot, but he has been hitting that pretty consistently. Or I could get down if we want to run it back. I know we talked about free throws being a little bit more nerve-wracking, but Zach LaVine gets fouled a ton. And he is somebody that his is 5.5 against Boston. That would give us a bring back against Boston if we want that.
Yeah, I just the free throws always scare me, and he is a little bit banged up too. See, how many free throws is he averaging a game?
Joel, I like the Paul George over threes. My only thing is, like, if there's any chance that game turns into a blowout or the Clippers give their guys more rest, then you're going to lose 2 legs automatically, not just one with Reggie. And I'd rather still have a chance of doubling up. If for whatever reason they just say, okay, we're going to run a lot of our backups, then, okay, we still have a solid chance to double up. But if we run PG threes with that too, then we just lost 2 legs.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I am pretty high on RJ Barrett here in an up-tempo game.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I forgot about that play.
I could get down. I think he's going to play 35 plus minutes. I think the fantasy points looks pretty good. Again, he gets a massive usage bump with Randall off the court. So we've seen 2 games recently. Again, that game against Cleveland, I think he shot like 4 of 18. So I don't put too much weight into that one. That was a game without Randall. Yeah, he shot 4 of 18. Last game in a blowout, shot 9 of 20, still for 44 fantasy points. He's going to be their go-to guy in an up-tempo game. So I think getting down with either the Barrett fantasy points or just straight up points is something I do like, because you're not going to, I would be shocked if you see limited minutes for any of these Knicks guys.
Yeah. I think I like the points more than I like the fantasy score. He's hit points 3 out of the last 5. He's hit the fantasy score 2 out of the last 5. And he's hit the over on the fantasy points, or on the points. He's almost always like right around there anyway. So, and really the only games that he wasn't near that were Cleveland and Detroit. He was only slightly off, but I like I think I like the points more.
All right, let's do that. I think that looks like a pretty good 5-leg prop. Any issues with it? And I know you're a little bit nervous about the Reggie. I still think the Clippers guys play normal minutes here, but
no, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm scarred by the last week. Okay, so it's tough. Typically, I wouldn't have any issue with that. The last week has been a struggle with these coaches not always being truthful. So
the thing is though with Reggie, so like he's averaging 13 assists, so potential assists. So like even if they do blow them out or he only plays 3 quarters, I still think he could hit it in that time, right?
Yeah.
I think the correct line for averaging 13 potential assists over the last 3 games would be like 6.5. And right now it's at 4.5. So
yeah, let's hit it.
Let's do that. So, all right, guys, we will tweet this out. 5-leg prop. Appreciate you guys.
Wait, something changed.
What?
Dwight Powell fantasy scored. Oh wait. No, wait. One of them just changed. What lines are you showing?
Dwight Powell's at 24 fantasy points.
Powell's at 24. Horford's at 31. RJ Barrett, 25 points now.
Went from 24.5 to 25.
Yeah.
Would you rather do the fantasy points then? I mean, he is the guy that's going to stuff the stat sheet, so we could just do the fantasy points.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, he's going to be their main playmaker in an up-tempo game, so we'll do that one. We will tweet this out. And then if this hits, we're doing coffee giveaway. So if you ride with us and this hits, obviously you'll make some money, and then you'll have a chance to win some free coffee as well. So appreciate you guys checking out the stream and leaving comments. Any last words, Mark?
Yeah, just remember to use coupon code DKDFS to get 20% off your coffee at roastumber.com. That's in the description. And yeah, let's send us your screenshot of you running this with us. Win or tilt. You're going to post yours. I'll respond back with mine and post that you guys are riding with us. And let's give away some coffee tomorrow. We deserve a win. We really deserve a win. So,
yeah, 3 of 4. We had a good night last night, 3 of 4, and Tyus just couldn't get it done in overtime. But yeah, we've been close a lot, like one leg off. So
yeah,
let's get a 5-leg win here, and let's give away some coffee.
Let's do it.
All right, thanks again, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
See you guys.